mission,
some parts seeing up to 43% there in Nome, Alaska. So things are looking pretty good as far as conditions in Alaska at the moment, with a good amount of clearing taking place in places like Anchorage and Fairbanks. Kira?
Okay, Samara, and by the way, you mentioned Spain. That's what we're looking at live right now. It's you're in a double box there where we can see you plus those live images from Spain. It's moving quickly. Yes,
it is. Kira, have you experienced one in real life?
I have not. I've only watched them from television. I wish I could be at the Blue Lagoon with Maggie.
That looks amazing.
I know. All right, you and I will go next time. Whatever the next time is. Oh, speaking of Maggie, apparently a whole bunch of kids said to her, "We want to be on TV." All right, Maggie, introduce us to your crew.
I'm just going to let you know that in 10 minutes we are going to reach full totality. Just like to say from behalf of the Blue Lagoon, thank you so much for coming here to us today to enjoy this wonderful cosmic moment with us. Here in this
Maggie, hold on. Maggie, it's hard hearing. It's hard hearing. Hold on, it's hard hearing you. Hold on. Let's listen to the announcement and then.
So much for coming.
Okay.
And I hope you're having a wonderful time.
They're telling us to have a wonderful time.
Yes.
Oh, there's a big clock on the wall. So
Okay.
17:47. That is when we will reach full totality. I'm going to step out here quickly because the sun, can everybody see me here? Okay, I haven't got a guitar, I'm not part of the band. But the sun is over here, to my right-hand side.
All right, we're going to come back to you, Maggie.
But at 17:47, the moon will completely cover the sun and we'll be plunged into darkness. A couple of things you may notice as well is that when the full eclipse occurs at 17:47, obviously the temperature may drop.
He's describing what's happening, Maggie. We're going to come back to you. We're going to meet your friends, I promise. And while we wait on the gentlemen up on stage to hold off because they've been playing music, getting very excited, let's go to former NASA astronaut Robert Hoot Gibson, also National Geographic explorer and night sky photographer Babette Tafrishi, and also Matt Kaplan, senior advisor at the Planetary Society. It is so great to have all you guys on board. While we wait for Maggie, and we can hopefully hear her a little better from the Blue Lagoon. Babette, we've had a chance to talk to you as you're getting ready. We know you have chased some incredible moments around the world. Talk to us about this eclipse. I know you followed and you've been able to take photos and capture other moments where an eclipse has taken place. But, you know, talk about what this is like for you as a photographer and what you learn, you know, from celestial events like this. You even describe it as being very spiritual.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Very true.
So if you've just joined us, take a look at these maps that we're showing you right now that's showing the path of the moon's shadow.
Which was the most
You can see that
inspiring
it's
to me.
close to
I
reaching
could hear
Iceland. We're about
lions
5
reacting,
minutes away from
monkeys
totality
reacting,
in
birds
Reykjavik.
going back to the
And
nest.
over in
So you see
Spain,
a lot of
you can see that we
animals
have about 45
doing
minutes
some
left until
unusual
totality
behavior
reaches
due to
them.
this
So
sudden
these
drop of
are
light, because
views from
especially
the
the drop
Elevado in
of light is
Spain that we're
very
seeing right
notable
now.
in the last 1 minute.
And if we switch
It's
back
almost
to
like
the
normal
map,
day
you'll see
until
that
the last 1
moon's
minute. That's
shadow
why it's very
actually looks
surprising to
pretty
people who
slow
don't
as it's
follow
traveling
the
across
time with
down
their
towards
watch.
Spain.
All of
But
a
it's
sudden
actually
you're
traveling at
surprised.
over
And the same with animals.
2,000 miles per
Mammals
hour.
less, birds more.
These maps were made
react
by
to
my colleague Annie
eclipses.
Wright,
We,
who
even
used
for the
various
last
NASA
eclipse, we
satellite
were
data to create
documenting
super
bats
accurate
are
maps
coming
for
out
us.
of
If you want to
a
view
bat
and
cave in
download them
Texas
yourselves,
in
you can
2003. I
visit
was in Antarctica. That was the first time human beings
science.nasa.gov/eclipses.
documented the total solar
So
eclipse
now
there. And
let's
it was not
welcome
all
back
success. In
NASA
2013, I
heliophysicist
was
Dr.
in the
Kelly
middle of
Corrick.
a dust
Kelly,
storm
how are you feeling
in
about today's eclipse?
Kenya, in
I'm
Lake
excited
Turkana.
for everyone, and I
But
know those clouds are a
2017
little
for National
worrying in
Geographic, I was in
Iceland.
the air
That's one of
with
the
a
reasons
very
we
high
get the plane,
altitude flying jet
but
to
also
capture it
joyful to
before
see
it
the
reached the
balloons that are going to be
mainland of the
launched, as well
US.
as,
It was off the
as
coast
seeing
of
it in
Oregon.
Spain. So really
And the
exciting.
next
Yes,
year,
and I'm sure
which
the NASA pilots must be
you
excited
just
as well in the
asked me in the
pit.
Yes,
previous
exactly.
interview,
It's a great view. It really is a great view.
year will be the next total
So here
eclipse.
we're seeing
It's
a
going to
live
be
view from the
August 2nd,
WB-57 aircraft
2027.
sensor
And
right
that's the
now.
longest
They're
eclipse
moments
of
away from
21st
seeing the
century,
moon's
the
shadow
longest
hit
that we
Earth and
have
also
ahead of
chasing the
us.
eclipse.
It's going to be
And
7 minutes almost.
we
It's
haven't
crossing southern
actually
Spain again,
seen
all the way to
the
North
view of the
Africa
corona yet from the
and
nose, but they
Nile River,
will be
including
capturing images
Luxor
once totality
temple.
hits Iceland. And on the right-hand side,
Okay,
we're
I know
seeing
you're getting
the
ready. ready. We might lose you in a minute because you've got to get ready to get your photos. But if it has not happened yet, we'll come back to you, Babak. Matt, let me take this to you. When totality takes effect and day turns to night, talk to us about what actually happens, you know, to the atmosphere around us, like temperature, wind, animals, you know, the way the sky looks.
I was surprised at how pronounced the effect was within the few seconds of totality, and then especially during totality. It suddenly became cool. The wind stopped moving. And of course, we were plunged into essentially nighttime. And then you get that amazing view, 360 degrees around you as you look outside the zone of totality, the path of totality, because you're right in the center of it. And
but if there are any
it's
animals,
just the
they might
most
start to
amazing
pretend
and
that it's nighttime or
awe-inspiring
realize it's
experience.
nighttime
I
and
highly
start to kind of
recommend
nest. And
it,
this is
Kira,
very
if you
unique
get the
for that part of
chance.
the world because right now
Oh
they're
my gosh!
on
I mean,
almost 24 hours of sun. So
it's one of those things that you hope you get to do. It's a bucket list item for sure, which leads me to Robert Hoot Gibson. I mean, Hoot, you're a former 5-time shuttle astronaut. You actually were on a NASA jet in 1979 chasing the shadow of the eclipse.
Definitely.
Tell us
from personal experience, in
talk about
2017,
a rare
I was in
experience
South
that
Carolina, and
not
there were
everyone gets to
and
do.
During
What was that
totality,
like?
It parted just around the sun
Sure, that
and was
was
able to actually
spectacular.
fully
And a total
enjoy the
eclipse
eclipse.
of
That
the
was my
sun
first
is
total.
an
That was my first total
incredibly
solar eclipse. So there
awe-inspiring
is hope that
experience.
the clouds
earlier,
are
our weather gal
influenced by
mentioned
that change in
cooperative
day-night,
skies.
that eclipse that's
I
coming
knew I
through.
wanted to go
So we're
up to the
hoping that some of the winds
northwest
and
part
some
of
of
the
that
U.S.
changes
to see
could
that
change things
eclipse,
for
and then
us.
I thought, what if it's
So we're
cloudy?
seeing
So I
right
said,
now
okay,
on
the way to make
screen
sure it
a
won't be cloudy
live
for me
telescope
would be
view
for me
from
to fly
Spain, and
one of
that's
the NASA
because
jets.
the telescope views
So I
in
put together
Iceland
a
are
mission
obscured
where
by
3
clouds. But
NASA
as
jets
Kelly mentioned, I'm
and
hoping
6
that the clouds
astronauts
will
all
part
together
and the weather will
went
change
up
for
to
them.
Montana
Anything can happen at this
so
point,
that we
right?
could
Right,
take off and race
and
along
also, we'll
with
talk about it a little later,
totality
but the balloon
at
experiments,
620 miles
they are
an
testing
hour
the atmosphere.
and
The atmosphere
guaranteed to
of
be
the
above
Earth
all
is
the
still being
clouds.
affected,
So we
even
did
if
that,
there is
and we
cloud
had
cover,
over 4
and that helps
minutes
us with predicting
of
weather models.
totality.
So it's not
We're
just
down on the
about the
ground. It was
coronal
3
science,
minutes and
which is something
was
that
the
I'm very
maximum.
passionate about, but it is
And
also about
that
understanding our
was
planet
a
and how it
really
interacts
memorable
with
experience, and
interacts
I
with the sun
wrote about
and
it
the
in
light
my
that we're
book as
getting
well.
from it. And
Why
you
does
see,
NASA
we're
study
starting to see
solar
something in the
eclipses, Who?
WB57. It's getting very close.
There is so much that
they
we
were
can
going
learn
in there,
about the
so
sun's
that's
corona and even
Okay,
parts
so
of the
everyone
moon,
who's
because
watching right
Bailey's
now,
beads
the
is something you hear
right-hand
referred to
box, you
in
will
a
see
total eclipse.
the live
And
views from the
that's where the
WB57
entire
aircraft. That's where
disk
the NASA
of
pilots are
the
chasing the
sun has
eclipse
blocked out,
from the skies.
and
So
what we
Kelly, can
can
you tell me
see,
why,
we can see
what are the
flares,
benefits
we can
of
see peaks
observing the
of
eclipse from
light
up there?
shining
From
through,
up there at
which are
50,000
the
feet.
canyons
Okay, so
and
look at these. These are great.
the high points
50,000
on the
feet,
moon
you're
as well.
able to
And
get
so
above all
there
the
is so
clouds.
much to learn
So they're
about
above
it.
all the clouds, and we're able to again
All right.
allow it to overtake
Okay,
us. So they
we are
get a few
getting
more seconds
so
of totality.
close. So
You
guys,
saw
stay
that
with
beautiful
me.
pink,
Maggie,
filament on the sun.
what's the
That
feeling?
is
What are you
something that
thinking?
Amir
Are
talked
we?
about,
I mean,
is
we're
that filament,
sensing
that
that it could happen any
material that
second
comes
now.
off the sun
Feel this. You
that
need to
can
feel
actually
this with us
create
right now.
space weather
Everyone
and affect
here,
our
my new
power
group of
grids
friends,
here
as I
on
said, it doesn't
Earth.
quite
It
feel
can affect
right.
our
It feels like
GPS. So if you
everything's
ever
gone
use your
still. It just
maps to get
got noticeably
anywhere,
darker,
that's
didn't it?
that's
Oh my
something
gosh,
that we can
we've been
we need to
experiencing this
understand
together.
to be
This
able
is
to
Erin,
predict.
who planned
It
a
also
trip
affects our
with
astronauts,
40 of her
our
closest friends and
astronauts, so making
family.
sure that they're okay. So those things
Actually,
are
when I
really
was
important to
8
study,
months
and one of
pregnant
the
with
reasons
this
why we
one,
have the
we went to
WB57.
Wyoming to see
It's a little hard
the
to see,
path
but
of
in the
totality,
words on
and
the
then I spent the last
right-hand
2.5
side, you
years
see that
thinking
pink
about this
filament
trip,
now
and it all
on
came
the
together with all my
WB57
friends.
feed, which is on the
2.5 years
right-hand
later,
side.
40 of your closest family and
Yeah,
friends
so you can see it in
are
the,
with you
the
here
end
today.
viz
And
area, now
I think
kind
we're
of right
just
in the
over
center.
about a minute away. You were pretty much born an eclipse chaser. What's it like for you to be here today?
As we're used to, we're used to 4K down here. But this is really
it
data
wasn't
scientists
in
can
total.
love. This is telling us very specifically about part of the data. So it's like taking
like totality. I was lucky enough to see the last one in America, and it's a moment that changes your life. Okay, guys, here you can see everyone sort of getting ready. We'll chat with you guys after as well, because I want to know what this moment was like. But I want to let them enjoy it
for a little
So
bit,
we're
because
about
like I
a
said,
minute
it's
and a half
happening
away from totality in
any
Iceland.
second now.
And so we
Can you
have a minute
sense
and a half for the
that?
clouds to pass.
It's getting still. You hear people start
So
to cheer.
the sun view that
I'm
you're
gonna look
seeing
at the sky.
here, that is not of Iceland, but that is of the partial eclipse in Spain.
You can feel it.
Iceland is
There's
still
this
being covered with clouds,
stillness was the
but
perfect
totality
word.
will hit
Scientists
them
we
in
spoke with
about
said
just
that
a minute or so.
the birds and
luckily
animals go
our
calm, but that
airplane, the
humans do
W57
also. And I
aircraft,
have to
they're
say,
going
I
to
almost feel like I should be
views of the eclipse
whispering
from
right
the
now,
skies.
because
So
we've
we're going to be
seen,
seeing
all the staff
what
here at the Blue
camera
Lagoon has come out.
on the nose of the plane will be
They're
seeing
staring up at the
in
sky.
roughly
Everyone
1
that we were
minute,
just kind of
which is
partying
so
with has
exciting for us.
stopped talking, and they're quiet. They're taking in this moment as
what would be a diamond
you see
ring
that? That
effect.
just went dark.
So those little
Did you feel that?
things that you're seeing.
Man, that's incredible.
This is when happens when the light passes
say
through
it's like the middle of the night,
the moon.
in the middle of
So
the
you
day.
don't have a
Here,
perfect
I
circle
have
on
to
the
say
moon.
it's
It has
more than that.
those
It's
craters, and there's that diamond ring effect.
It's almost not
So
real.
just
It's
absolutely
otherworldly.
beautiful.
This moment
And
right
that's
there.
when you still should
It's
have
getting
your
darker.
Right
glasses
there.
on. And when
Yes,
that
we can
ends,
see it's getting
that's when
darker.
you're able to do
You feel it, don't you?
I want to comment. This is an experiment.
Do you see it
right?
getting
And so
darker
this is
with
part
me?
of the reason
Yes.
why we're seeing
Yes.
kind of the
Oh.
arrows.
Okay,
the
now
the
it's
crosshairs
totally
go
pitch
in and
black,
out.
Maggie.
And
hear it.
our real time, this is real time
It's
why
totally
science
pitch black.
happens, is that
Here,
we
it is
are trying
unbelievable.
to make sure to make adjustments.
We are
and
now
make sure
in
we're getting
totality
it.
here at the
Wow.
Blue Lagoon in Iceland.
Yeah.
So we are 7 seconds down to totality.
It's kind of indescribable.
In Iceland.
It's
This is really
otherworldly to be
exciting. We're getting a
surrounded
shot
by
of
these
the
lava
ballooning
rocks in
experiment
Iceland.
as well. This is the nationwide
In
eclipse
the
ballooning
pitch
project.
black
They've
of
been
night
launching
in the middle
balloons,
of the day to see it go
during-
like that in
for the past
seconds
24 hours leading up to
sort of
this
makes you
eclipse.
question
Just
everything
so
in a
exciting.
way.
I can
It
see that they're
feels,
getting really excited as well, despite
like you're
the
part of
clouds.
something bigger
Because
than
they
yourself,
can
especially
actually still collect
experiencing
data
this
even though they
with
can't see
so
the
many
eclipse. Is that right?
people.
Exactly. They can still collect data.
there's that
They are
moment
still
where you do wanna
experiencing
go
a little
still.
bit
You
of
just wanna
that
take it in a little bit
darkness.
here.
It's
Okay,
obviously
well,
darker. See,
are you going to put on your glasses? Are you going to? I mean, and also too, I want to make it. Yeah, put on your glasses. But I want to explain to our viewers, Maggie, the reason why we could see you pretty well is, of course, we have a light on you because we want to be able to talk to you through this moment. So we're looking on one side of the screen, which is pitch black, where everybody around you is right now. But on the other side of the screen is your live shot, where we do have a very soft light, so we can see you and see some of the folks that are checking it out. Okay, now we've got a live shot from the control room, and this is from Norway. So Maggie, we're with you where it's pitch black, but another shot where our light is on, so we're able to see you and talk to you. But then we have another live shot coming through our control room, where you can actually see the moment happening in real time from Norway. So wherever folks are looking to be a part of this moment of totality, from Norway to, okay, here we go, we'll listen in. I'm listening.
You hear the cheers.
Yes.
You heard the cheers.
Some features.
All of a
those lines
sudden,
that you see,
oh
the dark
man,
lines,
you're out of
those are
darkness,
magnetic
and it's
features, and those are kind of the
slowly
exciting
that
things
light
we want to
comes
know
back.
about
It's like a light has been switched back
space
on,
weather,
Kira.
and so to better understand that. So the sun has given us some
We're
very
back.
interesting
You can
things to
almost
look
feel
at,
the
and those
energy
experiments
coming
will
back
really,
as
really
well.
help us.
People cheering after
And so
taking
this
that
is why
moment to experience totality
observations
together.
and eclipse
Oh
chasing is
wow!
so
It's
critical
Kira, there's
because
really
even though they happen
nothing like
often,
totality.
and
It
even
is
though we
so
know
hard to
exactly
put
when
into
they're gonna
words. This
happen, you never know
undescribable
when
moment
weather will just obscure your views. So we wanna
stillness
take
and of
every
realizing kind of how
opportunity we want.
small
We
you are
can
in the world
get
compared to this
observations,
celestial
definitely.
event that is changing the earth.
Okay,
I mean,
so if you
it's
were
incredible,
in
Kira. I'm so happy we could
Iceland
share that together and to be here
and
with you for that
either seeing
moment.
clouds
And
or
I
you
know
were
we're going
able
to
to
chat
see
with some
the
other people as
eclipse,
they're
please
coming out of the Blue
share
Lagoon
your
as well to
experience
hear
with us.
about
We
their
wanna know what
experiences.
you
But Kira, I
experienced
hope you
on the ground.
could feel that
Please tag
somewhat,
@NASA
like we could
wherever
feel
you're
that and
watching.
experience that moment
So
of someone
we have
literally
a lot of
turning a
questions
light
coming
switch
in
off
here,
in the
from
middle of
social
the
media.
day.
So Kelly, shall
just
we dig into
incredible.
those questions? Let's dig in.
And let there be
Alrighty,
light.
so
Maggie, I
we
couldn't
have
think of a
Bo
better
on
person to
Facebook, and they
experience
ask,
that with. I actually
are we
felt
really
like I
going to
was
lose
there with you.
gravity
All right, I'm going to
during the
let you
eclipse?
grab some folks for immediate reaction. While you do that,
You
all right?
have Aaron and her girls back right now because came to find us.
And so we're going to stay grounded on this.
Yes.
Okay.
What did you think?
Noted. Gravity will change. Okay, so we have another question from X, and they ask, how much can we actually learn about the sun during just a few minutes of totality
It's hard
compared
to
to
put into
years of
words. We're
real
having the same
observations?
experience. I was saying
It's really
people
about
say it's
having all of the
spiritual, and you kind
observations,
of
right?
think, okay, what are they talking about? And then you experience one yourself.
Because
You're
the
like,
moon
wow,
just
yeah,
happens to fit
wow,
so perfectly
exactly.
over the
With
surface
everyone,
of the sun that
the
we can
energy
see
of
from that
everybody
surface outward
feeling
for
the
that
same
space
way.
weather.
It's really special.
Whereas
What
some
did
of
it
our
mean to be
instruments
here
aren't
with your two girls.
In.
One
so
who was,
together and use both.
You were carrying her just like
minutes
this
from the eclipse as
for your
well
first
as the years of observation.
Now you get to share this experience with us.
I think this is going to be a thing that we do together for our lives. So yeah, really special.
You were kind of born an eclipse chaser. Are you hooked for life?
And they asked, why does the weather change in a solar eclipse?
That's a good question.
So
I think it's something still
you heard it here. We have a new eclipse chaser. It was pretty cool, she said.
Oh, yeah. Pretty cool, pretty spiritual. Oh, Maggie, thank you so much. And who, you know, I want to bring you in on this conversation as well. And I started thinking about this, the fact that we have you, former NASA astronaut, you know what it's like to chase the shadow of the eclipse. You did it in a NASA jet. I thought about the other remarkable moment that happened was Artemis 2. Remember when the crew on its mission, they had the lunar flyby and the astronauts experienced a solar eclipse from space as the moon blocked the sun, and the crew, talked about that moment and sent back those pictures. And I remember the Commander Reed Weissman saying it was such a spiritual moment. They were all so quiet. They saw the sun's corona and even flashes from the meteoroid impacts on the moon. So you've had that experience as well, and now you just went through this experience with us. They're both pretty magical, aren't they?
Thank you so much. So keep your questions coming in. We'll be answering
and this was exciting to travel along with you for this
earlier, I also mentioned that we had questions for you, the viewers, as well. You can head over to NASA's Twitch and Instagram to weigh in on a couple of those.
We're flying 3 jet airplanes
here are some of these questions that we posed to you. So Kelly, let's see what those questions are. So if you had to pick where you watched the eclipse from out of these special locations listed, I'm going to ask you this, Kelly, which ones would you choose? So we have the International Space Station, a high-altitude plane, an observatory telescope room, and a NASA chaser jet.
It would be a tough choice between International Space Station or high-altitude plane. They've got such a huge overview. It's great.
And the quiet that we enjoyed in that total eclipse. So
thank you to everyone who has participated so far. We're going to check back into those results a little bit later on.
Aren't you lucky?
So
boy, I tell you. And Matt Kaplan, you're with the Planetary Society. You know what this means, whether it's scientific or spiritual, but just how the eclipse affects us here on Earth, the power grid, the weather, the technology, and what we just felt in that moment, at least. Maggie sure did. She was right there in the Blue Lagoon describing how it felt, what it sounded like, that moment of where everything just went quiet as well. Talk to us more just about how this isn't just kind of a cool moment in history, but there are a lot of impacts on our planet because of this.
One of 2 distinct paths.
Absolutely. And can I just say, I've never been more envious of anybody than I am of Maggie being in that Blue Lagoon and having that experience. Eclipses have affected people for thousands of years. There are records of them. There is art going back thousands of years that tries to capture this. It has always meant a lot to we humans down here on Earth, just as the moon has meant so much to us across our societies and cultures. And, who talked about the science we get from this? A lot of people don't realize that it was a total solar eclipse that allowed scientists to prove that Einstein's general theory of relativity was correct. And so we can thank a total solar eclipse for that as well. It has been just a wealth of value that has come from total solar eclipses, and much of it just the wonder of it all and being a part of it.
And on that beautiful note, we are going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Atmospheric gravity waves in Earth's stratosphere, or large ripples in the air caused by the temporary cooling due to the drop in sunlight.
What excites me the most about this project
How the hell are you supposed to break into this place?
When I say jump, jerks, you jerks jump!
The mayhem. I'm in.
Plan is, when they use the blender, we move.
What do you think, Linda? Should we do it?
Showtime!
Talking to us live from Moscow in Iceland, we have Jared and Tessa, who are part of the nationwide eclipse
Sweden, your animation destination.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know you just experienced the total
This is what you need to know.
We'll take you straight to where news is happening.
And give you what you need to know all in under 10 minutes.
Every day, only on Disney+.
We'll take you to
Paris, Egypt, India, Doha, Ukraine,
Tokyo, Scotland, inside the White House and Capitol Hill, on the red carpet at the Oscars.
Wherever news is breaking,
Anywhere in the world,
we'll take you right there.
The top stories, the latest headlines, the viral moments, what everyone's talking about.
What you need to know, all in under 10 minutes.
New episodes streaming every day.
Only on Disney+.
You've never seen anything like this before.
Wow.
Here it is.
That's amazing.
I mean, that's
I'm
incredible.
so glad that you could experience
This
that,
place
even
is
though,
going to
you know, you had
astonish
such a
you.
bad
What is
guide.
that? Oh my
So tell me
gosh.
more about what you've
America's
been doing.
most
I see you've got
beautiful
blue floating
natural
in the background. What are you measuring for the
This is
in
breathtaking.
Whoa. That is pretty amazing.
ABC
that are
News
measuring a lot of
and
different
Nat
things,
Geo.
like
This is
temperature,
extraordinary.
pressure,
In
humidity,
search of
wind
7
direction,
Natural
speed.
Wonders of
And they're
America,
supposed to
now
gather
streaming
the
on Disney
atmospheric
Plus
changes
and
during the
Hulu.
eclipse. So
We
normally
didn't
during
know
the day,
when and where he was going
air
to strike
rises
again.
until it hits
Friday
less
night,
dense
his
air, and this is
bedroom
called the
similar
boundary
to
layer.
50 Shades of
But
Grey.
during nighttime, when the sun is down,
Was it
this
who done
air
it?
stops and
That's
it's
crazy.
called boundary layer collapse.
2020 Friday night
So
on
that's exactly the same thing that
and
happens
stream
during
on
the eclipse,
Disney Plus and
and we're
Hulu.
using these
America's
radiosondes
#1 news,
to
ABC
measure
News, now
the
streaming
atmospheric changes, the
24/7 on
boundary
Disney
layer collapse,
Plus.
and then the recovery.
Reporting from Detroit
And
on the
we're in
2026
Iceland, not just
midterms,
because
I'm
it's
Jay
in the path of
O'Brien.
totality,
Wherever the story is,
but
we'll take
also
you there.
its northern
Streaming
latitude and its
ABC
shorter
News
nights
Live.
make a completely different boundary layer. So it's really a really cool opportunity to be able to study that under the eclipse
DMA
under
is
this.
hitting the road, America. Order up. Diners across America.
Right
Only
now.
on.
How have you been part of the project, and what made you
I'd
want
fought with
to join
many
the project?
warriors in my time. They were far stronger
started this project
than all of us put together, and they died.
So we've been working
Facing
with our
enemies
teams, respective teams.
that scared me far less
for the University of Kentucky, and
this
then my team made up of students from across Idaho. And
America.
we've been meeting once a week, doing balloon launches, preparing, and really what got me into it was my ballooning club that we have at the University of Idaho, and we all just, we love the science, we love the teamwork, team building, and so it's been a lot of fun.
Well,
That's
folks,
great.
the
And so
moon
do you have any
just stole the
tips for
show.
students
Good
who are
afternoon,
thinking
everyone. I'm
about
Kira
joining?
Phillips, and Iceland was one of the best places on earth to see
my
it.
biggest tip
Thousands
would be,
of sky watchers
to get
across
involved.
Iceland
That was how I
watching
learned
in
about this
awe as the
project,
first
through
total
my
solar
club.
eclipse
The
swept across the
professor,
country in
came to
54
us and
years.
was like, "Hey,
Totality
there's this really cool
was for about a
opportunity,
minute. We watched the
and
sky
so you
darken
guys
and the
should
sun's
put an
outer
application in."
atmosphere. The
And then
corona
also
just burst
what,
into
if you
view.
have
Live images
internship
now out of
opportunities and you see
Spain as the
those, just
spectacle
put an
makes its
application
way
in.
to
You
there
never know
and
what,
Portugal just
opportunity you could
before
get.
sunset. Well, our foreign correspondent Maggie
also, I would
Rulli is
say,
also
if you have a class that
bursting
you're
with
really
excitement.
interested
She
in,
is
just talk
there
to the
at
professor, see if
Iceland's
they have-
iconic Blue
need any help on
Lagoon.
the
Joins me
research,
once
because,
again. She's made a lot of new friends, and well, I guess they all made history together. What an incredible moment you got to witness, Maggie. I'm glad we were with you for the ride.
Like going outside the country for the first time.
Kira, I'm so happy you all were here for a ride. It was incredible, wasn't it? It's hard to imagine just a few minutes ago. It was pitch dark where I'm standing.
After the eclipse as well.
Now it's light
Thank you
again.
so much for joining me.
It feels almost like a miracle that something like this can happen. We've been chatting with some of our new friends, walking out of the Blue Lagoon, and I have to say, getting their initial reaction is always stunning because people almost don't know what to say. People you spoke with that were so talkative and excited before the eclipse witnessed totality, and they're kind of left speechless. One woman we just spoke with said it sort of made her help understand the power of Mother Nature, calling this moment priceless. Other people say it's once in a lifetime, something you can't put into words. And I think that's what's so amazing about solar eclipses. Kira, somehow I have been lucky enough. This was my third time in the path of totality. It never gets old, Kira. Every single time, it floors me. Even though it was cloudy today, I was just catching up with Clark, my producer, who's behind the camera right now, and I said I was a little skeptical it was going to be as amazing as the full bright sky totality I witnessed, Kira. Hands down, it was just as amazing. That moment, the lights go out and the world stills. There is nothing like it.
Well, we must say, we love Clark too, not just you. The two of you have been on some pretty awesome assignments together. So I'm curious, this was your third, and feel free, Clark can weigh in. How can you even compare the three different experiences? Was one better than another? Also, I'm trying to remember where you were for the other two. Kind of, remind us.
which helps us learn about how it behaves
but the
and
first
affects
one
us here
ever,
on
South
Earth.
Carolina, Charleston, 2017, the first one you ever see. That really floors you. You don't know what to expect, and it really leaves you shocked. Although I think I probably screamed in excitement, to be fair, at first, Kira, and then I went still. My second one was in 2024, not that long ago, the eclipse across America that we all covered together. I was lucky enough to be in Arkansas for a mass wedding where dozens of couples chose to get married under the eclipse. Talk about a moment of community. I mean, people pledging their lifetimes to one another in Arkansas. Another moment I will never forget. And now, here with you in the Blue Lagoon. Just another incredible once-in-a-lifetime moment. Again, something that kind of shakes you to your very core. And you think you've seen it once, twice. Honestly, I'm an eclipse chaser now. I want to see as many as I possibly can, because every single time it moves you, it changes you a little bit. You know, Kira is asking for your opinion. Clark, she wants to know, this is not your first eclipse either. How does this one compare?
I saw one in Isfahan in the 1990s.
1990s, Clark saw a total solar eclipse in Isfahan, Iran.
And this was just as cool.
He says this one was just as cool. Kira, they never get old. We're so lucky to do this job and to be a part of a community like this and to be able to experience, I mean, these just otherworldly, amazing experiences. Talk about a pinch myself moment, Kira.
I can't believe it. From Isfahan, by the way, a place I've always wanted to go. I'll have to talk to Clark about that. Just the poetry and literature itself, to Arkansas, to Iceland. I mean, what a journey. Clark, thank you, and Maggie, thank you. I know we'll be talking throughout the rest of the afternoon, but that was fun. Thank you so much. And we have been also loving the daylight out of our powerhouse panel of experts that have been along for the ride. Former NASA astronaut Robert Hoot Gibson and also Matt Kaplan, Senior Advisor at the Planetary Society. Now we can all just kind of take a deep breath, guys, and just kind of think about what we experience. And I guess to sort of move it forward, how can we figure out when the next one is going to be? Matt, can you tell us?
Monitoring the sun in real time.
Fortunately,
can you talk a little bit about
the
what
solar
you do?
system
Yes,
works
of course.
like clockwork.
What we do is
and it's a bit more complicated than that, but it does make it relatively easy for scientists to predict when the next one will happen. You had that guest on from National Geographic Explorer last half hour who mentioned the 2027 eclipse, which will be crossing once again Spain and through Africa. I don't remember the date right now, but there is generally one almost every 18 months on average somewhere across the Earth. Though one spot, one particular spot on Earth is not going to get one very often. We were so lucky in North America that we had two of them across the United States in 2017 and 2024. Those that others, the first two that Maggie got to experience as well. But scientists have actually been able to predict eclipses for hundreds and hundreds of years, long before there were telescopes.
Okay, so you're saying we've got to wait about 18 months then?
We saw these huge
I don't think it's going to be that long, because it definitely, that one in 2027, which I'm sorry I don't have the date in front of me, but people can certainly find it online. By the way, one place they can find all kinds of information is, if you'll pardon this, our website, planetary.org/.
Hey, no, that's okay. Of course you can plug your nonprofit. And look, you know, people are going to want to know. They're going to want to see the next one, when it can be, and how, you know, we are able to predict these. And who, we were talking, my producer and I were talking earlier, you know, when I mentioned, oh my gosh, Artemis 2, and how they had a chance to experience a solar eclipse when they were on their lunar orbit. There's 7 crew members right now on the International Space Station. So I'm curious, it'll be interesting to hear from them as well. How do you think this experience impacted them? Do we know?
For an extended period of time, because I was working the overnights, but it was incredible,
and I loved to have passed through the shadow of totality, and maybe they got to experience some of it too. It would be somewhat miraculous. And speaking about Artemis too, I was so envious of that crew, watching them do that. that makes me want to go back to space, but I think they're going to tell me, hey, you've been greedy enough already, you don't get another trip after 5 times.
I know. I mean, yes, you think one time is pretty fantastic. You had 5 shuttle experiences. I mean, that's incredible. By the way, we never got to explain to our viewers how you got your call sign. It's always fun to throw that in there. How did you get your call sign?
Well, it's funny, Kira, I usually tell people it came from the expression not worth a hoot. But
Fantastic. Our opening question is for both of you.
It's
Just a
similar
couple months
to
ago, we
the
wrapped up the
Top Gun
historic
Maverick movie,
Artemis II mission,
where the
and
ops
now we're on
officer
the
of my
cusp
fighter
of a
squadron
total
asked me,
solar
well, what's
eclipse.
your nickname?
Can you describe
And I
in
said,
one
well,
word
well,
how
it's
you're
Bob.
feeling right now?
And he said, no, come on. I mean a real nickname. And I said, well, occasionally I've been called Hoot from the cowboy movie star. So that was 1972, and ever since then I've been Hoot.
I love it. It fits you perfectly. And as you were describing that story for us, we were looking at pictures of you from back in the day when you had a chance to command some of those shuttle missions and chase the shadow of the eclipse on that NASA jet back in 1979. Boy, what an incredible experience. You know, Matt, looking forward, okay, we're talking about sort of the historical moment, the spiritual moment, the visual moment, but now come tonight, tomorrow, in the days forward, what will scientists like you be looking at just after this moment? You know, the data, the study, the details. How does it help you as a scientist?
Where would you choose?
I thank you for the promotion, Kira. I'm actually not a scientist. I'm just a fan of scientists.
An advisor.
Yes, I am an advisor. But I can tell you that there are hundreds of scientists around the world who have been monitoring this eclipse because it does give us such a great opportunity to study the corona. There are mysteries about that outer atmosphere of the sun. Why is it sometimes more than 2 million degrees, much hotter than the surface of the sun itself? We're closing in on being able to understand that. And because the sun is the source of essentially all energy in our solar system, or nearly all, it really is worth studying. And that's why we have telescopes and probes like the Parker Solar Probe that are devoted to learning more about that life-giving star.
Matt, who I've now promoted to our honorary scientist, and our well-known NASA astronaut, Hoot Gibson. Guys, I would like to say that was a hoot, but it was more than that. It was very, very special to experience that moment of totality with both of you. Thanks, guys, so much.
Why do we still care so much about the sun? What is there anything new we can learn about it?
There's always new stuff to learn about the sun. It is our star, but it's the only star
from a covert operation to a lot of questions. Did the secret plan to get the president out of Turkey last month actually put the press corps and some members of the administration in real danger? Well, President Trump is passing the buck to the Secret Service now. TV cameras actually showing Trump boarding the old Air Force One after the NATO summit in Ankara, but it turned out to be a decoy. And because of a credible threat from Iran, the president was secretly moved in a catering truck to a military plane nearby. Now, there's a lot of questions about who was really at risk when that decoy mission was executed. Trump now telling us he was actually at greater risk on the secret flight.
It's only up to the Secret Service. I just follow what they'd like to do. So I go by Secret Service and the military. They wanted me to go on a different flight, a different plane, equal safety, but they wanted me to do it, so I do it. I do what they say.
Dive into our eclipse maps and where
our Stephen Portnoy joins us now. So what more do we know about this threat from Iran and just that scramble that followed?
The eclipse progress. I mean,
yeah, Kira, the New York Times reports the U.S. had intelligence indicating that Iran knew exactly where President Trump was in Ankara, Turkey, even what floor he was staying on at the hotel, and that a shoulder-fired missile had been spotted in the vicinity of the NATO summit. That, the extraordinary secret plan was put in place to have the world see the president there boarding a plane that he was then immediately whisked off of via the catering truck. The president then boarding a smaller executive jet carrying the defense secretary, while the Secretary of State, the Treasury Secretary, many White House aides, Secret Service agents, military service members, and a small press contingent flew on in the 747. The president said last night he actually believed he was at greater risk flying with Hegseth than on the Legacy Air Force One. What's remarkable here is not only the extent to which the security apparatus around the president saw the threat as genuine 4 months into the Iran war as he was visiting a neighboring country, but also that the U.S. government would have ostensibly put so many Americans in a position of unknowingly being used as decoys to protect the president. That's a decision that we now know the administration sought to keep secret until it was reported by the Washington Post this week and confirmed by the president himself last night.
So, as for the war itself, President Trump says the situation is, quote, absolutely fine, and that the U.S. has total control over the Strait of Hormuz. Where do things really stand right now, Stephen?
Last night, the president told reporters the U.S. owns the Strait of Hormuz, and on social media this morning, he posted in all caps, "I think we will keep it." Yesterday, the U.S. military said it had fired on a ship it accused of trying to violate the blockade. The president calling that blockade a wall of steel, saying online today there is nothing Iran can do about it. He was asked there last night whether he trusts Iran, and he called himself the last person to trust Iran, adding, quote, "They've lied to me constantly." On Monday, the president rejected an Iranian demand for war reparations, saying the U.S. would also expect Iran to pay damages for all the deaths and injuries it has caused, including to Iranian protesters and to U.S. service members.
All right, Stephen Portnoy, thank you.
But this one, because it's so close to the pole, and because of the orientation of the Earth and the fact that it's
potential federal plea deal in the United Healthcare CEO murder case. Sources telling us now that attorneys are expected to discuss Luigi Mangioni's case this Friday. But this is not the first time negotiations for a plea deal have actually happened. Talks took place back in June without a deal being agreed upon. Our Peter, our alumnus and chief legal analyst Brian Buckmeyer join me now for the latest details. So Peter, what more do we know about this conference come Friday?
Yeah, Kara, based on the court filings alone, we don't know much. It was jointly requested by both prosecutors and defense lawyers yesterday after Mangione appeared in state court, and they didn't provide a reason for the conference, though sources tell us that among the topics to be discussed is that possible plea deal. At this point, Mangione still faces 2 federal stalking charges, and if he were to reach a plea deal, it could result in really 2 important outcomes. First, it could result in a possibly lighter sentence that he'd have to serve out at a federal rather than a state facility. And second, it could help defense lawyers revive this argument about double jeopardy to throw out that state murder case, which is for now scheduled to go to trial on September 8th. Prosecutors at this point have said in court filings that if there is a plea deal, this is state prosecutors, they would push the federal judge for a stiff sentence. In the meantime, full steam ahead for that September 8th trial date.
All right, well, Brian, what are the chances that we might see a plea deal on Friday?
Kira, I think they're extremely low, and this is why I say this. We've already seen in the federal case the death penalty be taken off the table. The most that Luigi Mangione can now get is life in prison without the possibility of parole. And I don't see prosecutors coming lower on that issue. The other thing is the entanglement between the state and federal case. If he does plead guilty in the federal case, imagine having to do the state case, because I'm assuming that the state case hasn't decided they want to resolve that case. But imagine going to the state case to a potential jury and say, hey, you might have heard that Luigi Mangione pled guilty in the federal court, but keep that out of your mind and keep an open mind here in the state court. I think there are too many moving pieces and we're too far down the road for anything to happen here where prosecutors will offer something he's willing to take, or it will not conflict with the state case, because that doesn't seem to be wrapping up anytime soon. But have the conversations. This is probably only the second time we're hearing about plea negotiations. It's probably been ongoing for quite some time, but we'll see what happens on Friday.
Of one of my mentors from graduate school, Jerry Koyman, and he and his wife, they are
now to the Midwest, where millions of people are dealing with another round of severe weather, including the threat of more tornadoes and destructive winds. The same region just hit by a string of dangerous storms that left 3 people dead, including in Indiana, where officials believe a storm likely played a role in a house explosion. Then in Ohio, those storms causing widespread flash flooding, bringing down trees and power lines at one point, leaving more than 900,000 people without power across the region. Let's get right to our meteorologist, Leslie Lopez. Leslie, what's the latest?
You know, we're still not done with that either. And this is going to continue onward today, so I'm going to show you all the areas where we're
seeing flash flood concerns, but also severe weather concerns. There's also heat, so this is really fueling those storms. Let me show you what's going on. This is Kansas City, Missouri, 108 Wednesday, 107 Thursday, 106 on Friday, and that heat just continues right into your Sunday. So not much relief. In fact, what we're seeing here today for the heat index is a large majority of the South, the Plains, all the way up to the Midwest, even out towards Florida and along the, looks like the Mid-Atlantic, dealing with triple-digit heat advisories and excessive heat warnings are across most of these regions. Then you're going to also notice that this persists. So this is going to be a long-duration heat wave. Anywhere from Oklahoma City, 102 Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're right into that range. Same goes for Wichita, Dallas, you're in triple-digit heat, and lots of 90s across most areas along the south and then moving out towards the east. Now, as far as flood concerns are we're talking about with the severe storms rolling in, not only flash flood warnings, severe thunderstorm watches, and then we have flash flood emergencies in some of these areas. Indianapolis, right between Cincinnati, this is where we're seeing the most severe threat happening right now as we're heading into your afternoon. So this is going to be moving through. This is a line of storms getting right through the region, over to Indianapolis, moving down into Cincinnati right around 4 o'clock. So this remains an area of concern right through this afternoon over the next several hours. It starts to veer and shift away from the region by the time we're heading into this early evening. And yet another line of storms moving into North Platte all the way up towards it looks like Sioux Falls, getting into Aberdeen. So this is a large area dealing with severe thunderstorm risk. What are we looking at as far as the potential? As far as significant rainfall rates, 2 inches an hour, that could mean 5 inches of rain in a hurry. So we really just want people anywhere from Indianapolis all the way down to Lexington to be very prepared to evacuate or try to find higher ground. Just heed all warnings to make sure you have 2 ways of getting those warnings. In addition to that, we could also see red flag warnings persist out towards the Pacific Northwest. So we're going from heat, humidity, severe thunderstorms to dry conditions out towards the Pacific Northwest. Strong winds, very dry conditions, and fire spread can be rapid. We still have that smoke in those areas. And coming up, we're going to talk about some changes that are happening right now in the Pacific that are really impressive. Now, we're looking at tropical storm development through the Pacific, and we could start to see a tropical storm start to veer its way closer towards the Hawaiian Islands. There's a 90% chance of development as we're looking at one system that is going to be starting to veer out towards the west. And it looks like as we're heading into the next several days, we might be talking about a hurricane moving in that direction. And then we also have the development of a cyclone also potentially getting up to an 80% chance of development out towards Atlantic. So more on that to come. This one could be impacting Puerto Rico and some of the Caribbean islands. All right, over to you.
All right, Leslie, thank you. Straight ahead, ditching grades, but still getting a degree, changing your college report card, and why next. Plus, cue the jazz music. Oh yeah, the must-see drone video. I wonder if you can guess where this is.
See like the slither of the moon at the top corner as well. And the moon is covering roughly 20% of the sun.
Ira Star is ready to take you out of this world with Star.
Anyone can take photographs of a solar eclipse.
It is the truest and rawest version of me
let's hear
right
a
now.
few tips on how to photograph
Struggle
one.
is a mirror.
In the playlist, the Afrobeat star takes us inside of the making of her highly anticipated third album.
Because I want people to see I'm not scared to try different things. Just like that. Let me try this.
That's tonight on Prime with Lindsay Davis, streaming at 7 p.m. Eastern.
I've fought with many warriors in my time. They were far stronger than all of us put together, and they died facing enemies that scared me far less than this one. You're going to need a miracle. It's not possible.
Glad you're streaming with us. More than 50 sharks off the coast of Southampton, and it was all captured on this video. The photographer spotting the ocean predators by drone as they were hunting a school of fish. Speaking of school, have you ever wished that you could go to college and not worry about getting good grades? Well, there is a new policy now. It's a bit controversial, and it's taking place at some universities where students are actually not going to have to worry about their report cards anymore. Hannah Battah explains.
Near the horizon. We're about 7
One of the
minutes
country's
away
largest
from
public
totality in
universities
Leon,
will
Spain,
soon be
which is
doing
so,
away
so
with letter
exciting.
grades for some
This
freshmen
is,
to protect their
some of
mental
the crowds
health.
there that we're
They
seeing,
need
you
time
can
to
see
figure
that
things
the-
out.
Beginning next
the
fall, instead of getting an
darkness
A,
is
B,
looming.
C, or
It's not
D,
quite totality
some first-semester
there
freshmen
yet,
at the
but
University
they
of
are
Michigan will
almost
get
there,
only
which
a
is
pass
awesome.
or no credit.
So
And neither
now I'm
designation
gonna,
will count toward their
joined here by
GPA.
NASA's
The university
physics
says this will
director,
allow
Joe
students to
Wesley.
explore a
Joe, how
subject
are you
that may
feeling
not
about
come
today's
easily
eclipse?
to them,
super
or take a
excited. Super
course in a
excited to see
new
it and
field
share
without
our
the fear that a
science,
low grade
NASA science
may have
across the world.
long-term consequences.
So
I
if
showed
you're
up wanting to
watching
study
from
chemical
the
engineering.
ground and you
I
don't
bombed
have
all of my
eclipse
first-year
glasses,
classes.
there are actually many ways to
and
watch an eclipse.
soon discovered that
These are
chemical
through
engineering was
indirect
not
viewing
for me.
methods. So, Joe,
The
do you wanna
school
walk
says
through
the
some of
goal is
those
to help
methods with us?
students start
so this is
strong
super
and
cool.
curb the
This is
mental
stuff
health
that you've got at
crisis
home and
unfolding
things that
among
you can use
college-aged
to help you
individuals.
view an
Critics
eclipse
say the
safely without your
university is
glasses.
coddling
So here we
students.
have
One
just a
education
standard
policy
colander,
expert
right, what you
saying
would have in your
swaddling
kitchen,
college students does
maybe
not
clean some,
actually improve
berries
their
or
mental
whatnot
health.
with
It creates
And I'm gonna
entitlement.
demonstrate how you
Others
would use this
disagree.
to look
That
at
kind of
the
sink or
indirect way
swim
of an
argument
eclipse.
about higher
You're using
education
the
simply
light of the
doesn't
sun
hold
as it would
water.
filter
Higher
through this
education
colander.
should be a
And let's
pathway
demonstrate
for
together.
upward
Okay,
mobility
so,
for
yeah,
all
if you
who
can
enter
hold
through
that.
this university's
Do
doors.
you need a piece of
Michigan
paper?
isn't the
You don't
only
need a
school
piece of
system
paper. You can just have
rethinking
it
what's
on the
healthy for
ground,
students.
something
In Los
light that you
Angeles,
could
the
see.
nation's
Okay, I've
second
got
largest
a
school district is
flashlight
rolling
that's sort
out
of
some of the
demonstrating what an
strictest
eclipse would
limits
look like.
on
It's got a
screen
little
time in
piece
the
of foam
country
there that'll
as
show.
students head
So
back
let's
to
shine
class
that light.
today.
Let's do our
The new
sun,
rules
and
call
then
for
show it
no
as it would
screen
hit
time at
the,
all until
this
second
colander.
grade.
And what you can see there is these nice
Hannah
little
Batat, thank
crescent
you.
moon
So anyone
shapes,
feeling lucky,
which are
tonight's
showing
Powerball
the
jackpot worth
eclipse
$1 billion.
on
Your odds?
our example
Not so
paper here.
great.
So
Good try anyway,
that
though.
would usually be a
Talking
bunch
about
of
feeling the need
circles,
for
like if you took
speed.
this out during
We've got
regular
new video of a
daylight.
driver setting
Here in the U.S., you would see just
a
a little
new
sliver gone.
land
Over
speed
in Spain,
record.
of course, they
So
would see
how
these
fast was he
beautiful
going?
little,
We'll tell
crescent
you
moon
next.
shapes.
So you don't want to be looking through the colander, but you want the sun to be shining through it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right, you want to use this
My
as your
friends and
light
I were
filter
young
for
and
it.
rich.
And the cool thing is you can use this.
We
but
had
you
it
don't
all.
have to use this. There's lots of other possibilities.
totally agree.
So you can actually take your hands, right? Okay.
Then the most magnetic person I'd ever seen walked into our lives.
The new guy likes you.
And when you do that,
There's
you
something
can actually
very
see
wrong with
through
him.
and be able to see the eclipse in the same way. Right? So that's a cool way to do it.
FX's The
And then on top
Shards,
of that,
now
let's say you're
streaming
taking a walk
on
in the woods.
Hulu.
Well, the leaves of the trees
Get
actually
this,
make
people.
these kind of
Now
tunnels
we're
all
streaming
over
every
for you as
weekend,
well.
right
When
to
you
you.
do that,
With
you
an
get
all
this
new
beautiful,
show and all new views,
constant crescent
special
moons
for the
and everything
weekends.
everywhere.
Now you
One of
can
my
catch the
favorite
view
ways to see
7
it.
days a week.
Thank
I
you
wonder
so
if you
much,
can
Joe.
handle it.
Is it
It's
today's
the weekend
eclipse?
view.
August
The
12th
weekend
also
view.
lands
It's
on
the
another
weekend
special
view.
day.
Streaming
So
on
this day in
ABC News
2018,
Live.
NASA's
Wherever
helped
you
to
stream,
celebrate
take a
launch
little
into
time
space
to
study
enjoy the
sun's
weekend view.
corona
See you on the
eclipse.
weekend.
Now streaming Saturdays and Sundays on ABC News Live, wherever you stream.
Friday nights at 9 on ABC. New 2020 True Crime.
First thing in the morning, at home, on your way to work, with your coffee, wherever you are. Get the day's first news, first reports from across the world, and the morning's first buzziest stories you'll be talking about all day.
See you here first thing on ABC News Live first.
Mysteries unravel and stunning truths are revealed when 2020 investigates.
Follow the clues, the evidence, the breaking new details.
ABC's 2020 movies.
Murder mystery. Greatest true crime stories. If you follow true crime in 2020,
Then you've got to listen to this. Subscribe now to 2020 True Crime Plus. Ad-free, exclusive true crime content. Scan the QR code or search 2020 True Crime Plus podcasts and start your free trial. David Muir, the most trusted anchor in America, the most watched anchor in America. Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, the #1 newscast in America.
GMA is hitting the road, America. Order up. Diners across America. Only on.
Where we're going to see the eclipse in real time.
Glad you're streaming with us. And who wants to be a billionaire? Tonight's Powerball jackpot worth a whopping $1 billion. And the odds of winning, pretty slim. One in more than 292 million. The next drawing is tonight. Well, he's the fastest man alive again. Retired fighter pilot Andy Green just broke a new world record. record driving a hydrogen-powered car at 406 miles per hour. Green already set the record for overall land speed in 1997. Our Sophie Flay has all the details.
And even though totality hasn't occurred yet, you can see
the fastest man on wheels has done it again, this time powered by hydrogen.
406.320.
Okay, so remember to be safe when watching a solar eclipse.
British driver Andy Green hit 406 miles per hour on Utah's Bonneville Salt Flats, a world record for a hydrogen-powered car, easily shattering the old record. The retired fighter pilot is the only person ever to break the sound barrier in a car, setting the all-time land speed record in 1997. But this time, his 32-foot car burned hydrogen, using engines adapted from construction equipment.
This is almost at sunset, so we're experiencing something that's a little bit different.
It comes as many look to alternative fuel sources amid rising gas prices. But hydrogen has its fair share of skeptics. One problem, most of it is currently made from fossil fuels, so it's only as clean as its source. Elon Musk has been criticizing hydrogen power for more than a decade.
Hydrogen is an energy storage mechanism. It's not a source of energy. So you have to get that hydrogen from somewhere. It's just very difficult to make hydrogen and store it and use it in a car.
Green sees it differently, arguing anyone with sunshine and water can make their own fuel.
There that we already see. So these are things that are very interesting and again can erupt in the space weather that we were talking about earlier.
All right, Sophie Flay, thank you. Well, the news never stops. We're speeding along. You can find us anywhere you stream live news, and if you're on the go, we're on the ABC News app and abcnews.com. I'm Kira Phillips. Glad you're streaming with us. A lot more news up next.
Moments before totality hits.
So what they should see is what we call the diamond ring effects or the Bailey's bead. So these will be really bright lights, and it's from the last bits of sunset, the sun coming through the valleys. So that will come through, and we'll see that. And you study your eclipse glasses and think of the method at that point in time. But when that's done and the ring pattern totality, it's time to remove those glasses and see the corona in your own eyes.
If you're on the ground, what other sensations will you be feeling?
It will definitely be getting colder. There might be a wind. You could again, change in animal behavior.
Gird your loins. You got it. Set your mind to rewind with throwbacks from Disney Plus and Hulu. Oh, snap, sweet nibble and celebrate the good times. Exodus, Sicily, sing to me, Paolo. Remember the best line. You nasty. You jump out your jack. Honey, you never looked better. Then, now, and always. And when totality occurs, that's the ability to disappear.
13 seconds away now.
All your favorite throwbacks from Disney Plus and Hulu. Now totally streaming.
We are so happy for you.
It was the worst case I've ever seen. It's the nightmare.
Really disturbing.
The murder of Angie Dodge. And again, probably feeling so much excitement and sometimes even feel a little fear. Like,
step inside the chilling mystery.
What was waiting in that basement? The ultimate clue.
In a human experience, but here it goes. We're getting close to the Bailey's beads, the diamond ring effect.
A total shock. Follow the clues in this stunning, all-new 2020 true crime mystery, The Snare, wherever you listen to podcasts.
We didn't know when or where he was going to strike again.
Friday night, his bedroom, similar to 50 Shades of Grey.
We have a murderer on the loose.
There's a whodunit.
That's crazy.
2020 Friday night on ABC and stream on Disney Plus and Hulu. America's number one news ABC news now streaming 24/7 on Disney Plus. Friday nights at 9 on ABC.
Kind of hanging out there based on
Murder
the
mystery, sex, betrayal, lies, bombshell, the greatest true crime stories.
That's a really nice view of the corona. We've seen things that look like streaks coming out of us, and those are streamers. So that's the basis of the solar wind that we are bathed in.
So inflation declined ever so slightly last month compared to last year. The average price of goods increasing, according to the latest consumer price index report out today. The price of oil and gas, which has been rising steadily thanks to the Iran war, will pose a challenge for the White House as the midterm elections close in. Our Olivia Rubin breaks down all the new data, including what you are paying more and less for.
They are coming towards Earth.
At the grocery store, the gas station, and at home, prices are rising for Americans. Today, new data on the economy showing inflation eased slightly in July from 3.5% to 3.4%. But that's well above the Federal Reserve's target rate of 2%.
It's a good thing that we don't see that number going up, that inflation isn't accelerating, but it is still above where the Federal Reserve and overall households want inflation to be.
It's costing you more money. The Bureau of Labor Statistics showing prices for fruit and vegetables up 5.1%.
2%.
And what is it
Cereal
about
and
these
bakery
features that are
products
so
up
important to study?
2.7%.
It's important to study what they're made out of. Oh, and now we're back to the diamond ring. So
9%.
we're coming back
and
out
gasoline
of it already. It was
up
always
a whopping 24.6%.
Yeah, so it's already, it happens so quickly. And once you see one, you definitely want to go back and see some more.
The average price above $4 a gallon, according to Gas Buddy. The cost of some items falling, too. The data showing used cars and truck prices are down nearly 2%. Lettuce down more than 16% amid the deadly cyclosporiasis outbreak. And critically, amid these rising prices, the data showing wages aren't keeping up. Earnings actually decreased 0.2% in July. The Trump administration previously defending its economic record, saying this on CNN.
The bottom line is that if you look at the overall economy,
that material that is
booming.
suspended above the sun, that's very, very hot. Again, it's interesting to us to know what they're made out of. There's normally filters, like here and on the airplanes as well, to tell
All right,
us
well,
about
your voice, your vote now.
iron
We
or
have a
whether that's
much
carbon
better
or oxygen
idea
or
of how
what
November
exactly
is going to look after
those
6
pink,
states
those
held
pink,
primaries last night. Let's
filament.
start by putting on our cheese heads and head to the Badger State. Progressive and Democratic Socialist Francesca Hong, who thought, well, would be the big favorite, actually conceded to Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. That razor-thin margin is just the latest salvo in the battle between the moderates and progressives in the Democratic Party. Crowley is calling for Democrats to unite ahead of the general election. So here's what he said last night.
Yeah. Look at that corona.
And every one of us has something much bigger to unite around. And that is keeping MAGA extremism from bringing the chaos we see in Washington into our neighborhoods right here in the state of Wisconsin.
The sun is very, very
From the
bright.
very first day
So
that I
it's
announced this
basically a million times
campaign,
different. And
I said
when
the
you
real
brought out that
threat
middle,
wasn't
you can see
any
all
of
the
my
beautiful
primary
things that are
opponents.
going on,
The real
behind
opponent
it.
has always been Tom
this
Tippett.
is the beautiful crescent.
All right, our
moon that
political
you're
director
seeing.
Avery Harper, also
I think
congressional
previously we were
correspondent Jay
seeing
O'Brien
those
are here to
stripes
weigh in
of
on
light,
this. So
that's
Avery,
also closer to sunset here,
what does this mean
as
going
you go
forward?
more
What do you make
south
of this
in
race? What do you
Spain.
think of this
And
razor-thin
already the
win?
lights were turning,
I think it means that all Democratic voters are not uniformly moving to the left, even though we've seen some progressive victories this primary cycle. Perceived electability still matters. And so when you look at some of the results that we saw last night, we saw Francesca Hahn, the Democratic Socialist in this race. She did pretty well in some of the urban centers of the area around Milwaukee and the area around Madison, where she's from. Those are some of the anchors of Democratic support in the state of Wisconsin. But when you get to some of these suburban areas, the more rural areas, that's where David Crowley was able to really run up the score. And so he, as a moderate candidate, has really made this argument that he's going to push forward on Democratic agenda items while not being a target for the Republican Party.
Okay, so now, Jay, I'm going to take you to a different spot, South Carolina. So that was razor thin. It was a bit surprising. But in South Carolina, we weren't really surprised that Darlene Graham, took the seat over of her brother, Lindsey Graham. But now, the momentum that she's picked up, she may get this permanently.
Yeah, and it's unclear right now what the power of President Trump's endorsement was in all of this, because Trump endorsed Darlene Graham. He gave her his complete and total endorsement in his words. But last night,
very close with Lindsey Graham.
Absolutely.
We're really not surprised, right? Because he was tight with these.
Right, and he bear hugged Darlene Graham and said, this is the person to fill Graham's spot. But that wasn't enough to get her 50% of the vote last night. She's now going to advance to this runoff against Republican Congressman Ralph Norman. And so while it shows you that, look, the president's endorsement across the map, as Avery has seen too, definitely still has weight and has power. It's not the only factor sometimes in voters' minds, the way perhaps the president or some in the White House or some of his most diehard supporters would like you to believe or say. We also saw that on the map last night in Minnesota when Mike Lindell, a close ally of President Trump's, who's backed Trump's baseless claims of election fraud ad nauseum, right, lost in the Republican primary for governor against the more establishment choice, the state speaker of the House. And so while the president does have weight, we have seen that across this primary cycle. What we saw with Darlene Graham and Mike Lindell is that it's not the only factor sometimes in voters' heads.
Mike Lindell, we should remind folks, the pillow guy. That's kind of why everybody everybody remembers him and those moments where he stepped to the mic at the White House. I remember covering the first Trump administration, and he kind of went on and on and on. And President Trump was like, okay, thank you so much, Mike. Okay, but they did remain friends. But it did kind of, their relationship did kind of fizzle off a little bit. So I guess the chance that this state goes red then, does a Trump endorse it? And Trump, as Jay is saying, does a Trump endorsement, have its limits?
A Trump endorsement certainly has its limits, and we saw that play out in South Carolina, where he was not able to clear the field for Darlene Graham in the first place. And so we'll see what happens in that runoff a little bit later on this month. But in Minnesota is a pretty reliably Democratic state. And so I think the Republican in that gubernatorial race is still going to have an uphill battle against Senator Amy Klobuchar.
Okay, Jay, President Trump, he's now leaving the door open, declaring a national emergency tied to elections. And here's the quote: "Stranger things have happened." Do we know what that means exactly?
It's unclear. I mean, it's being read as leaving the door open because you've got to take the president and his word with something of that seriousness. He's doing it, though, Kira, because he can't get the Save America Act passed through Congress. This is that voter ID legislation that require physical government ID to vote and proof of U.S. citizenship to register to vote. There have been studies that have found that would disenfranchise something like 20 million eligible voters who don't have easy access to that documentation, and that's one of the reasons why there are Senate Republicans standing in the president's way on this. And because he can't get this through the Senate, it leaves open the possibility that he tries to find other avenues, like what he's mused about, the possibility of a national emergency, to try to force some of that voter ID into enactment prior to the midterms. If he were to do that, an emphasis on if, it would almost certainly be tested in court, but he's relying on that, or possibly thinking about it, because he cannot get this bill through the Congress.
Or did you put your panel down for this one?
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Well, called into action. It's been 1 year since President Donald Trump declared a national crime emergency in the nation's capital, mobilizing thousands of National Guard troops to D.C., aiming to reduce crime rates. Well, the deployment is expected to cost $1.4 billion and last through the end of Trump's term. Our Alex Brachet took a rare ride-along with the D.C. National Guard and its commander, who talked pretty candidly about this mission 1 year in.
The viewfinder on a camera.
Okay, good.
This has become the routine for Brigadier General Leland Blanchard. Making the rounds in the evening is what he calls the best part of his day. General Blanchard oversees the National Guard mission in Washington, D.C.
Let's go to work.
And today, he let us tag along.
You're getting a chance to see the mission firsthand, and that's part of this as well.
It is, and so that feedback is critical.
Our first stop, away from all the tourist sites, deep in southeast D.C., Anacostia Station.
Walk me through, what does the mission look like here?
Our mission right here is really about creating presence, deterring,
making babies smile, helping a wheelchair passenger get to where he's going, and cracking jokes with Metro riders, all a part of the mission here. But Blanchard says the Guard assists with life-saving medical aid, too.
Very soon we'll hit 900 medical interventions.
What is it that makes
it ranges from CPR to tourniquets for gunshot victims to a lot of lacerations, and a number of people that fall.
Back in December, Air National Guard Captain April McClung delivered a baby in a parking lot outside of Walter Reed Medical. On July 29th, Guardsmen were first to respond to a double shooting, and these 3 National Guardsmen from West Virginia gave life-saving first aid to a shooting victim near Union Station. They know they haven't always been popular here.
And I was kind of scared of coming up here. I'm not going to lie to you. I've seen a lot of hatred towards us being here. I've seen a lot of people calling us Nazis and telling us to go home, telling us to kill ourselves.
Wow.
When I got up here,
so
all of
John.
this fears my way because I knew that there were people that we were helping.
This is a mission that started a year ago when President Trump declared a national emergency and ordered the Guard to help combat crime in the city.
I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor.
Since then, their presence has ramped up to some 4,600 troops deployed to work with law enforcement, pick up trash, clean graffiti, help with snow removal, and carry out beautification beautification projects.
Kelly, it's
Their use
amazing to
here
hear
hasn't been
someone
without
as
controversy.
passionate and knowledgeable as Don.
Critics have pointed out the National Guard is expensive compared to other resources for neighborhood cleanup. A recent analysis found the average guardsman costs $223 more per day than a D.C. police officer. Multiplied by the number of troops in D.C., and that's more than $1 million extra per day.
How are you navigating the presence with that sentiment that
and that's going to be the eclipse of the century, the longest one of the century. So it's 6 minutes and 20 seconds.
So it's
going to be a very long one.
Obviously, I'm the commanding general of the DC Guard, and I'm the commanding general over this,
so these are going to be great scientific experiments as well as amazing
and so when we talk about what some of those other ways may be, that's really outside of my line of expertise.
Well, the next one where we'll have totality is 2044 in Montana and North Dakota, and then 2045. So it's going to be
Another
a while
point of contention
before we go
seems
California
like these
through
guardsmen
Florida,
standing around.
across the entire
General
continent.
Blanchard sees this as a
So if
sign
you
that
want to
they've
learn
deterred
more
potential
about
crime.
solar eclipses and
What I
NASA
hope
science,
you see
you can head
is
to
a good bit of boredom,
science.nasa.gov.
right? Because that means our presence is working. That means that the mission
Kelly,
is
thank you
working.
so much for joining us in the studio today and answering all of our questions from our viewers.
If
I
there's
also want to
boredom,
thank our guests who join us in the studio and on the ground as well.
Pill to
And
swallow.
especially to our
I can
telescope
definitely
partners and
appreciate and
everyone
understand.
who looked up with us here
we want to
today.
be great stewards
And so I think
and be
we
as
may
efficient
have
as we can
some
with taxpayer
eclipse
dollars.
pictures
The general
from
admits
the
it's
International
hard to
Space
track
Station. I'm
stats
gonna see
on
if we
crime
can grab them
prevention,
now for
but he
you.
believes the National
If you
Guard is
can't, we'll be
responsible
releasing
for a
them
sharp
shortly
decline in
after the
violent crime.
eclipse.
Critics will
We're going
point
to
to
be placing
stats
them
from Metro
online,
Police, which showed
soon
violent
after the
crime in
eclipse,
2024
but yes,
was
we're
down
happy that the
35%,
space station
a 30-year
astronauts were
low,
able to see the
and
eclipse
continued
from
to
space.
trend down before the
So
Guard
we
was
have
deployed.
something
New data
else
from the U.S.
exciting
Marshal
happening
shows in the
just a few
last
weeks.
year there have been
NASA's
more than
Kennedy Space
16,000
Center Launch
arrests,
Complex
with
in
35
Florida
homicide
will become the
suspects
next
caught,
launch site
and more than
for the
2,000 illegal
Grace
firearms
Space
seized since
Telescope.
the Guard's
This is a
deployment.
wonderful kind of observatory that will help answer
There's also the
essential
issue of
questions
Guard
about
safety.
dark energy,
Last November, a
exoplanets,
gunman
and
opened
much
fire
more about
on
our
National
solar system
Guardsmen
and
steps
out
from the
to
White
the
House.
observable universe.
20-year-old
The
specialist
launch
Sarah
is currently
Beckstrom was
no
killed.
earlier than
Air
Sunday,
Force Staff
August
Sergeant Andrew
30th.
Wolf was critically injured in the
We're
ambush.
so excited
How
for you
is
to
Staff
join
Sergeant
us
Wolf
next time
doing?
as we follow another historic mission
we get a chance to
in
talk
space
to the Wolf
exploration.
family, and recently got a chance to see
Every
Andy.
discovery
You know,
begins with a new way of seeing.
I don't know how to describe it other than truly a miracle. That first night, I don't know that I had any expectation that I know that I do not believe that we would be here. And every step of the way, that young man has fought his backside off, and it has been inspiring to this old soul to watch that young man just work and overcome so many tasks, relearning. He laughs. He's out there doing things that just, my goodness, I'm going to do my best every day to honor Sarah's memory, to honor Andy, and do my best each and every day to do the best job I can as a leader.
This mission will go on through 2029. The Defense Department estimates it will cost another $1.4 billion.
You can never go wrong by doing the right thing.
General Blanchard is well aware of the scrutiny that comes with that price tag. He recently made a deal with a private housing company, Placemaker, to move troops into apartments, saving roughly $90 million on hotels the Guard had previously been housed in. He says he's also focused on expansion, continuing to move out into neighborhoods.
Yeah, so I think it's really continuing to build on what the president has directed us to do, which is to provide a safe environment. So now it's time to move a little bit further out, a little bit further into some of the neighborhoods where, quite frankly, we've been, but maybe not as heavy of a presence.
They're also expanding their emergency response, like carrying Narcan for overdoses. They've already administered some 325 doses.
You are a self-described history buff. It's not lost on me. We're sitting here out on the mall in front of the monument for the 16th president. You know, you're 1 year into this mission. You're reflecting this moment right now. What comes to mind?
Pride and a sense of history, connection. You know, we have the Washington there, the Capitol Dome behind it. Obviously, President Lincoln, who's, you know, at that pivotal point in American history. And then I look at these soldiers and airmen out there, and I realize that they're willing and able, and they raise their right hand to do something amazing. And how powerful is that? dogs.
And we've got breaking news to bring you now. A grand jury indictment was just unsealed charging Nick Reiner with the murder of his parents, legendary actor and director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. Our Alex Stone joins me now from L.A. along with our chief legal analyst, Brian Buckmeyer. So, Alex, what more do we know?
Yeah, we just got our hands on this indictment. It was just sent to us. This is it right here. It was actually July 20th when the indictment was handed down from the grand jury or handed up. But we're just learning the details of it right now. And the charges in this indictment are essentially the same as what he was originally charged with, the murder of his parents. They added one special circumstance of lying in wait. He was already charged with multiple murders and using a knife as special circumstances. Essentially what this does, Kira, is allows the prosecution to bypass a preliminary hearing and go right on to the trial. Not much else changes in this, but he has now been indicted.
All right. So, Brian, what's the practical, effect of this indictment?
Yeah, so the practical effect means that the grand jury has reviewed the evidence, heard from witnesses, and they believe there's a preponderance of the evidence, or more likely than not, the easiest way to describe this is just 51% chance that Nick Reiner, in fact, committed these actions, specifically murder in the first degree for both his mother and his father. And as Alex pointed out, too, there's certain special circumstances. Committing murder and then another murder afterwards, that's one, lying in wait, and using a deadly weapon. From a practical standpoint moving forward, there will be what's called grand jury minutes. The defense will get those pieces of testimony from those who testified in the grand jury, and as we move closer and closer towards a resolution of this case, whether it be a plea or a trial, we'll see how this grand jury presentation pops up from time to time. We may see motions being written about improper presentation, motions written about perhaps they didn't reach the level of information they need in this case, but we'll see more litigation following from this.
All right. Alex Stone, Brian Buckmeyer, thanks, guys. We'll be right back.
Okay, what are you searching for today? What's hot, trending, totally unexpected?
This is Search, the new show, the only show revealing the top searches of the day in real time.
So let's get right to it. Maya, what are people searching for right now?
Come on now, we all do it.
Right, we all search breaking news, sports, pop culture.
A real housewife caught up in a real spy scandal.
Let's get to this story that's now blown up online.
So take a break from scrolling just for a few minutes
and see what's being searched right here, streaming every day.
Breaking at 4:30 in the afternoon.
Eastern Time on ABC News Live.
You shouldn't be trying to steal my house.
I live here. Police is on the way.
Out. No, you don't.
Police is on the way.
And that's when the squatter standoff started.
Get out of my house.
I realized that we really had a squatter on our hands.
I literally lost my I've seen every scam in the book, I thought.
That's something that never, leaves you.
Get the out of our house.
I decided it's my alpha day. I need to send a message that says I am hyper competent.
Someone bring a gurney.
I don't need anyone's help.
What have you done?
And I don't love strip clubs, but I can sit at the bar and eat wings.
Are you willing to sacrifice everything for this job?
Gotta stay focused.
Yeah.
I met Joel. He was tall, handsome, magnetic. I knew I met the man I'm gonna marry. My mom said, Jesus Christ, Caroline, it better not be a cop.
He was the family man, devoted father.
He was super cop.
And then one day, I got a text. I had no idea the lie that he was living.
He knew something wasn't right.
He had a severe sex addiction.
He was clocking in and then going to have sex with people.
In his cop car while on duty.
Who did you have sex with? Why can't you just be honest?
I am being honest.
I was shocked my dad could do something so stupid. Banging on the door.
Man to man, stay away from my wife.
You're throwing your family away over this.
He looked at me and said, if I were in your shoes, I'd run.
And then things got really bad.
It was a betrayal that is just another level.
Betrayal. Dirty secrets.
Should we introduce you first?
Most people know me from Vanderpump Rules, but I'm a mom, a wife, a podcaster. I'm traumatized by reality TV, but I can't stay away from it. It's like if they're not on your payroll, they don't get to be in your life. I'm not here to ice anyone out. When you said that, don't cut me off. I showed up for you. This time I get to do it on my terms. What could go wrong?
House of Stassi, now streaming on Hulu.
The countdown to the Super Bowl is on, and GMA's Road to the Big Game runs through all 32 teams. Now, this Friday morning.
Welcome to Jets Nation, GMA. It's time to go green.
We're live at MetLife Stadium with the Jets. And just wait until you see how they're surprising one veteran with life-changing help. Friday on...
Good morning, America.
Glad you're streaming with us. More than 50 sharks off the coast of Southampton, and it was all captured on this video. The photographer spotting the ocean predators by drone as they were hunting a school of fish. Speaking of school, have you ever wished that you could go to college and not worry about getting good grades? Well, there is a new policy now. It's a bit controversial, and it's taking place at some universities where students are actually not going to have to worry about their report cards anymore. Hannah Patah explains.